Melissa from Going Your Own Pace here, and I want to talk to you today about pacing a little bit more. So I seem to be a slow learner, so had this concept of pacing for a long time. I actually started doing it in the first place without really knowing that that's what I was doing. So I had this vision while I was a very, very sick person in my mid-20s, and I had this idea that if I could just work slightly less, then I'd have more space for my health. And so eventually I moved back in with my parents, moved to another city, and I reduced my work hours to 27 and a half hours and cut my commute each way in half. And that was my beginning of pacing, and I have slowly fine-tuned it over the last kind of 12 years, and I feel like I have a pretty good sense of the macro and the work-life balance kind of thing. I know when to go to bed, I know when to get up, I know how much sleep I need, I know how much exercise to do, how much to work. But the thing that trips me up is that little sense of flexibility and asking my body what I need rather than going, this is the rule and I'm going to carry on. Now, no, don't get me wrong, having the rules and the systems in place is really helpful, because then you can say, okay, I'm following the rules, but I'm not going to dedicate too much headspace to thinking about my illness and my symptoms, right? You can do the system and then get on with your life, and that's great. That has its place. But what I've noticed is that I'm unwilling to deviate, and there's two specific situations. One is when I'm clearly in a flare-up, I'm clearly exhausted, and all I need to do is add an additional little rest to the day, like just do another 15-minute yoga nidra. Because it makes you more productive, or it makes me more productive to take care of myself and then get on with it. Like, it's better to just stop, take the 15-minute lie down in the dark with a heating pad, and then get on. Like, it's rare that I am less productive after that, right? So it increases the productivity when you do the rest as you need it. For some reason, I guess it's the ME/CFS and the orthostatic intolerance, lying down on its own can be really helpful. But just taking that additional yoga nidra break is great. I don't have to wait until the scheduled time. So I do it after lunch. And it's kind of moving at the moment because I can wait a little bit later, but obviously I'm governed by things like work hours and picking up children and that kind of thing. But what I've found is just adding that 15-minute when I desperately need it is really helpful. On Sunday, the last few Sundays, I've had a bit of a flare. I think I'm doing too much in the week, particularly on a Saturday, and then Sunday I crash. And just adding that little bit in the morning, instead of moping around or sitting on the chair and massaging at the painful knots and using the heating pad and, trying all the things that aren't really going to help, just go to do the rest. And it makes a difference. It really does. And there's been a few times where I've done it in the afternoon. Like I'll have finished work, picked up the kids, and I'll be melted into my chair just feeling terrible. And I'm like, this is not helping. Like, sitting in my chair is like kind of keeping status quo. Going and lying down and doing yoga nidra increases my ability. So that's the first part that I'm learning, is alter the plan and go and do the rest. And the other thing is preventative or proactive rest. Now, I have never really got this. I am the sort of person who needs to be slow and steady. It's never really worked for me to try and stockpile rest. Like they say, for people with ME/CFS and pacing, it can be very helpful to stockpile your rest. So say you've got a big day tomorrow, then you maybe do lots of extra rest today and then schedule rest the next day. But I find that doesn't really work for me. I can't overdo it on any one day, and there's just no way around it. If I'm going to overdo it, it's going to be a flare. But in preventative terms, it is just simply taking the rest too early, even if I don't think it's going to help. So for some reason, if I try to have my rest too early, my body is not ready, my brain is not ready, and my brain will be like, bing, 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 thinking about all the things, not doing the yoga nidra, but it still makes a difference. And even sometimes when I'm in too much pain and I'm too tired, maybe I've left it too late, it always makes a difference. Like, even if it's not as profound as normal, and even if I don't think I'm going to relax, I usually do for the last kind of 5 or 10 minutes, depending how long it is. So we can't judge our rest by how we feel in the moment. But what I have noticed is that it's really helping to take those preventative rests. So when I notice that we've got some kind of gap, the smartest thing I can do is take a rest. So this weekend we are going to go away as a family for the school holidays. We still have football practice in the morning, so I've got to take one to his game and my husband has to take the other to his game, and the oldest's game is like 45 minutes away and a little bit later. So I've already decided that I am going to take a rest when we get back from the football. So it'll be 10:30 a.m., which is, you know, quite early for someone who generally functions on one rest a day. But I'm going to do it preventatively and preemptively because it will buy me longer before I need to have the rest. But hopefully it will put me in good stead to kind of carry on and cope. And I've been doing this for events as well. So when we have a lunch event, then I will squeeze in something kind of 10:30, 11 a.m. And I just find it actually makes a difference. So if you're looking at your day and going, oh gosh, my rest is going to be pushed back or it might actually not even happen, do it early. So those are the two things that I've learned. And it's so funny, this concept of pacing is just so big, but it's so important. Like, there is such a good reason why pacing is one of the number one kind of treatment options for people with ME/CFS, and why I think it's super valuable for people with fibromyalgia as well. Anyone with any fatigue issues, any pain issues, it is so helpful. And obviously my pacing and my rest is very specific. So for me, I cannot nap. So yoga nidra is the only way, like a good guided meditation is the only way for me to actually get that profound rest. I can get a bit of a rest by just lying down. And like I said, simply lying down is helpful. But for me, that way to kind of increase capacity is the yoga nidra. So I thought I would share that with you. Don't forget, I have a free yoga nidra that you can download and keep. And it is the perfect length for those bonus rests or those preemptive rests. And it's just a good way to get started. So I'll provide the link for you below.